All right, we're in the back room. We've got Return to Dust with us, and you guys are playing tonight at Epic Event Center. But first off, I just want to say welcome to the area. I heard, or we were talking before we started recording, you guys have made it around the country like 5 or 6 times. Tell me, what's it like being an up-and-coming band, making your, hitting the road, becoming road warriors and the like?
Okay. It's definitely a lot of,
you wanted to talk.
just like putting in the work early on. I feel like it's like, we're driving very long distances to play to maybe a few people, but it's like, it's very important to do that, like early on, like as it's the most important times. And I'm excited to be doing it. Like, it's fun.
Yeah, we were really lucky to get our very first full U.S. tour with Chevelle of last year. That was in August, I think, is when that started, right? So that was a pretty incredible first tour, and really just the first step into a very large pool, Yeah, so we haven't even been touring for a year, but I guess like Maddie's saying, it's cool to kind of get all flavors. Like that was our first tour, and then we did a headlining run that was, much smaller in comparison to a Chevelle run, and so it's really cool to just get to actually meet the fans face to face, and that's something that we hadn't gotten in the past, and yeah.
Yeah, when you put music out there in the world, you don't really know who's going to see it at all. So it's cool, like getting to hear everyone's stories at the merch booth, from like how they discovered our band, or like, some people like meet their partners or something, like, and associate that with our music, because that was around the same time, and that's just cool.
How would you let's talk about this tour you went on with Chevelle, because that's a pretty huge get to be on a tour with them. You're playing in really big places.
Yeah.
How did that change your perspective from, playing, up and coming, trying to get signed, getting signed, and then all of a sudden you're on the road with a legacy act like Chevelle? What was that like for you guys?
Oh my God. I mean, at the time, it's like we had nothing to compare it to, because we'd never been out with any other bands. And they were just like the sweetest guys ever, and like really treated us well. And there was like, they had like food, like catering most days, and I was like, yo, touring's pretty dope, and then we get to doing the headline run, and then it's like we're like sleeping in the van most nights. And it's a little less cushy, that's for sure. But I don't know.
Definitely, I think it felt very vindicating for our music to like know that we were like trusted enough, like people believed in us enough to send us out with like such an incredible first band, because up until that point we hadn't toured at all. We just played like local gigs, and like I said, just like kind of put out our music and did everything digitally, like all of our like social media and stuff. So it was just cool that we were like, people believed in us enough to like send us out with that band, and Chevelle believed in us enough to bring us out with them. And yeah, we really had to step up, because it was like, this is a huge opportunity, and we want to make the most out of it. So
something that I feel like, I don't know, maybe up and coming bands hear this a lot, maybe they don't, but Sam, one of the last days of tour, he was just like, expressing his gratitude for having us on the tour, and then he was like, man, I can't wait to open up for you guys one day. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I like can't even, you're telling me this and I'm not understanding, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, it was very sweet of him.
Yeah.
So you said you were playing in your hometown. Where are you guys from? Like, where is the hometown, I guess, of the band?
We're all based in LA now. Me and Maddie grew up in Texas and moved to LA when we were like 19. And kind of along the way in the conception of the band, found these guys. And now here we are. Now we're one big happy family.
Tell me about what got you guys are from Texas,
Yeah.
growing up there. What was the music scene like that got you into making the music that you do?
Well, there wasn't much of a music scene where we grew up. It's this town called Midlothian, which is the cement capital of Texas. It's as dreary as it
There were
sounds.
3 cement plants in our city.
Yeah.
There's something going on in the air, in my brain.
Making us, yeah, weird. But yeah, no, we kind of grew up doing just, we went to, there's this, the only like music venue that was in the town was this coffee shop that had like open mics on every Thursday. And so we would just take our acoustic guitars and we would play, anything from alternative music at the time to kind of old folk songs like Fleetwood Mac and The Head and the Heart and stuff like that. And so it was very acoustic based, which I think makes a lot of sense. We pretty much write all of the songs on an acoustic guitar, and it's obviously very acoustic driven. And then actually later down the line is when we found heavy music, like the '90s stuff, Deftones, Alice in Chains, System of a Down, Stone Temple Pilots, like all of those bands, and we were like, I don't know, just hit the gold mine of music, and we were like, what is this?
Yeah, I think it perfectly like crossed our like love for acoustic driven like songwriting-y kind of music with really heavy music, and I just like I immediately fell in love with that. I mean, I'd always been like a fan of like active rock, like 3 Days Grace and Breaking Benjamin and stuff. That's what my mom would play in the car. But I'd never really heard a lot of like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and stuff. So when I found that, I was just like blown away by it. And yeah, we just tried to write as much as possible, like feeling that inspiration from those bands and from that time period. And the LP is pretty much what came out of that.
Yeah, you guys definitely lean very into that grungy scene with the harmonies, the little discorded harmonies. And this is just a little bit of a commentary on that. A lot of people say that right now, being a kid and like growing up is hard because you didn't, like the 90s was the best time to be alive because they had the best music, or the 70s was the best, or the 80s, whatever. But I am fully on board with, I think right now is the best time, because you just made the perfect example. Like your mom listened to 3 Days Grace and Breaking Benjamin. You guys played Fleetwood Mac and alternative acoustic covers, and then one day you heard an Alice in Chains song or a Stone Temple Pilots song, and you're like, you know what? All of these things that I've heard, I can put together and make music. Like, you can be inspired by so much right now that I think right now is such a cool time where we're not pigeonholed into, the 90s for the most, like from like 90 to 95, a lot of it sounded the same. 95 to 99, a lot of it sounded the same. And you move into like the 2000s until like all of this amalgamation of music has come out. And now we're starting to see the splintering of the genres, where back when I was growing up, if you listen to an active rock station, you just hear Limp Bizkit, Korn, 3 Days Grace, either stuff like that. And you knew what you were gonna get. And now, when I get an email from a record label and they're like, hey, I got this new band, and they're like, they're 90s inspired, which is a very broad thing to say, and you get stuff like Belly Up from you guys, and you hear it and you're like, at first you're like, oh, I'm not entirely sure if I know what the 90s sounded like anymore, but then you listen to it more and you hear your guys' story, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the coolest part about being a band right now, is that you're able to, turn back the clock a little bit with music and still move forward and make it real.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I mean, I think you kind of have to. You have to take all of these, like, because we had some great music in the past. We're all aware of that. Mm-hmm. And we got to, it's our duty to just, take the best parts of that and then, innovate and keep pushing forward and, make new stuff. We want to make the culture for our generation. We don't just want to, piggyback off what happened then. So, but it's great, like you're saying, that we have this whole wide range of influences to pull from. And I think generally there's more people just listen to everything now than there used to be, you know? Because I know that in the past it was like you only had enough money to buy one CD. So if it was like you're a Metallica guy, then it's like you're just going to go buy a Metallica CD every single time, or you know that genre. But it's like now with Spotify and streaming and everything, you can just listen to whatever you want at any moment. You know, you can completely shift your taste like all the time. So
yeah, it's like the same people that listen to Deftones listen to like Suicide Boys, and it's
Right.
like, you know, yeah, and that's just the culture that we live in now, which is, I think, kind of like you were saying, it's really cool. It's new, you know, and there's an opportunity to really like blend all of these things together. So
when you're up on stage then and playing your tunes, do you find, like you're opening, and do you find that, like what is the song that right now when you start playing, you're starting to see more of the heads turn from the bar, or the people from the back like peek up and start bouncing their way down to the front row? What's that tune for you guys?
know of anything?
I don't really look at the crowd much.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't look at the crowd. You don't look at the crowd.
No,
I
play
can't
guitar.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got the cymbals and
Seb's
Seb's
like-
just got hair in his face like the
Yeah.
entire time.
So I don't really look.
yeah.
People love Belly Up just because it's been, I feel like, getting played around like in the stratosphere,
Yeah.
and so that definitely like turns some heads. It's interesting seeing that song getting worked at just like, you know, radio, and just like as it lives more in people's heads, like it really like spreads like fire, you know, like more people are excited, like people that don't even know us are excited when that song comes on, and it's just like it's cool to see. But definitely the new song too, like it's interesting then comparing Belly Up with the new song that we're playing, because it's like then no one knows about it, you know, but you can still hear like people just get really excited about it because it's something fresh, it's new, and all the songs that were written on the LP we wrote like 3 or 4 years ago. So it's like Shine is the first song that's like really, really, really a fresh take from the band, like just songwriting wise, or like vocal performances, or like instrument performances, like everything just feels like a whole nother like chapter, and I think it's cool to then just play that live and give people that first little taste of it.
What's your highlight then? When you're like you write down the set list, and whatever song it is that you're like the most stoked for, which one is that?
Personally, I love like the end of the set. Like,
I was gonna say, When You Look at Me never not hits.
yeah, just the back half of it just always, I feel like we give people, you know, Belly Up, and then they're really excited, and then we just hammer them with like the deep cuts from the album and just like really pull them in, right?
Bring It On Home.
Yeah.
I like playing Shine, but yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I like Shine and the other one I will not name that we've been running.
Oh, the other one.
Bored.
That should not be named.
No,
The other one.
Summer Rain.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
You don't want to name it?
It's not out.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
We can bleep it out if you want. Okay, mark that.
It's like, yeah, my favorite song is.
Right on. Well, I'm excited about tonight to see you guys live. I've heard a lot of hype around the set and around your band, and so tonight's going to be pretty cool. You guys are out on the road with Pop Evil and Devour the Day, so that's another great get for you guys. What's next after this tour is wrapping up?
We got a few. We got all of the Winter Festivals, which are super exciting. Sonic Temple tomorrow.
Yeah, that's wild, by the way. Can we just take a quick pause and say you're driving from Green Bay, Wisconsin to Columbus, Ohio
Yeah.
overnight, and then with
For a 9 a.m. load in and a
Jesus.
12 and a,
Pretty much.
and a
You
noon
need to
set
be
time.
at home.
We're pretty much
Yeah.
leaving when we finish, when we get off stage.
Yeah.
So
We've got one job.
and
Yeah.
That's to rock.
and fortuitously, I feel like it's the end of the tour with Pop Evil is tonight too. So it's kind of like a, you know, an abrupt bookend, but a bookend, you know. But anyway, yeah. So all the Winterfest, Rockville next week. We're doing Billy Corgan. He's got his solo project. I think Billy Corgan and the Machines of God or something like that. So that's pretty much all June, and then And then 3 Days Grace and Breaking Ben in the fall, which is insane. Arenas, first time going to be playing arenas.
Be crazy.
which is Really, really cool.
And then all that time we're like releasing a whole new body of work, so it's gonna be really cool to like promote the music and just be playing it live and
Yeah.
just it's just a huge heavy hitting summer for us.
Well, very stoked for you guys. Thanks for taking the time to talk, and I look forward to seeing your show tonight.
Of course,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.